Welcome to Caleshire Gardens. This is going to be the garden tour. Wanted to do this to show what we have growing. So we have our garden off in an area away from the house. We've got our pond over here. You can kind of see it. And then the garden area. So it's approximately 30 feet wide by 37 feet long over here near our chicken that we found in Southport, North Carolina. We've got our blackberries and our blueberries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of them. Yeah, I think I kind of overplanted, but we'll see how well that works out. We're about to add in some netting, some more deer fencing. Not netting, I shouldn't say, because it's going to be the rigid type that we're using for the exterior fence. We're going to put it over top and on the side and create a little flap so that we can get in there and harvest. Over here, we've got our trap plants, marigolds, something that my wife planted, I don't know what that is, and that one that I don't know what it is in the middle, the red spiky thing. But the marigolds are definitely trap plants for some of the pest bugs that we'll have. This has actually turned out to be pretty key. We've got a little garden bench over here. Store our tools, put the tools over here, but also it's a good place to work. You'll notice a little 40-ounce can of Miller High Life or bottle of Miller High Life there. That's for slug control. So, you put bowls out or saucers and put beer in there and the slugs find them irresistible. Over here, we've got our compost. So I finished with one pile and moved it into the second compartment. I'm going to let that break down. I'm going to start building up the first pile. And our burn barrel that we use to make wood ash for the chickens and whenever we need it for something in the garden. All right, so over here we have our beautiful sunflowers that my daughter planted. She loves sunflowers and she wanted to grow them, so I had her plant the seeds. She's been helping me water and take care of them. We've got corn, which is something I've done never. So this is the first time that I've grown corn. It's doing really well. All the seeds germinated, and I got them from a local store here. I don't really know the brand of seed, but they're organic and they're sweet corn. I can't remember the variety, but they're doing really well. I'm going to do the Three Sisters method here. So I'm going to plant beans and climbing pole beans and squash on the corners. So right now I'm just waiting for the average plant to get more than 12 inches. I'd say that one's probably 12 inches, the third row away and maybe one more, but I want the average plant size to be 12, so 12 to 18 inches. And then I'll put in the beans. Once the beans come up, then we'll put in the squash so that they don't, overtake one another and work well together. So over here, we have one of 3 tomato beds. This is actually an asparagus bed that I built, but since I'm not planting the asparagus until the fall, I'm using it for tomatoes and eggplants. So I've got Nadia eggplants, the typical globe variety, and then these are big beef, so 3 big beefs, some basil and sage interplanted for companion planting. Over here we've got our potatoes. So we've got 11 bags of potatoes, and we're doing red, Yukon Gold, and blue potatoes. Never done the blue potatoes before, so total experiment. Can't remember which is which. Those are probably the blue because the leaves look very different. But yeah, so we're doing 3 different varieties. We expect we'll get about 120 pounds of potatoes, which is a big step up from the 2 bags that we did last year. So this is going to be fun. Over here is the second tomato bed. This is really kind of like the main tomato bed for the bigger varieties. So this is Brandywine. I've got my cheat sheets over here. Carbon, Mortgage Lifter, yellow Brandywine, and missing one. There's a tab here. 2 Brandywines. There you go. 2 Brandywines, a yellow Brandywine, a Mortgage Lifter. All right, so 5 there. So these ones will grow up the poles. We expect they'll get really, really tall. I've already started trimming or rather pruning off some blooms because I want the plant to focus on the root growth. I planted these super deep. So if you look at the bed and you kind of look at where the plant is there, the bottom of the plant's probably down all the way down here. And then I mounded it up with soil to give the roots the best possible start. I also used a new fertilizer. It's called, hold on, go over to my fertilizer stuff. It's called Brick something. I'll get it from the other side. Of course, I can't get to it easily. Let me pull it out. Okay, Hybrix tomato fertilizer. So this is a one and done fertilizer, and it was recommended to me by a lady who has been growing tomatoes for 2 decades. So, you know, I kind of tend to take advice from those that have done it for a very long time, way longer than me. You basically follow the directions. I think it's a three quarters of a cup, and they give you a measuring cup in there. You put it in there in a ring around the tomatoes. So clear it by 2 inches, and then mix it in. You know, just mix it in with your hand, and then you're done. So this is the cherry tomato bed. So we have sun gold and purple bumblebee tomatoes. So that'll be fun. I've never grown the purple bumblebee. I started growing sun golds. Once I discovered them, I've always grown sun golds every year. I think they're awesome. They taste great. This is our pepper bed right now. There's only bell peppers in there. I always have bad luck with bell peppers, so hopefully that won't be the case. I used tomato tone in there when I planted them, and I have some fish emulsion fertilizer, so we shall see how well I can get the bell peppers to go. I'm doing a little more research on them to give myself an advantage. So over here we have okra that I planted from seed. So I put 3 seeds in each. 2 took there, 1 took there. Looks like 1 took there. Also looks like something's been chomping on these. That's not a good thing. And then I think 2 took here. That should be okra. So I'll thin it down to 1. And okra get really tall. They get like 8 feet tall. But they don't need staking. So I didn't put stakes in there. So that'll be cool. This is the squash bed. So I'm doing 3 squash. I'm going to thin those out. And I planted these from seed from Baker's Creek. Rareseeds.com. And I'm properly spacing these out, which is something that I typically don't do. I'm always trying to crowd things in. And so I'm really trying to be conscientious of that. I've also got some onions interspersed in here. And I'll probably throw some other plants, herbs, and stuff. I've got some mint that I got from a friend that's just not doing so well. That one still looks alive. These just don't look so hot. Maybe I'll prune them and see. I didn't think you could kill mint. I thought mint was indestructible, but we'll see. All right, so I've got the hoops set up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add row covers, or a row cover, for this bed only, to prevent the moths that come in and lay the eggs for vine borers. Trying to prevent that, and also to prevent the squash bugs from getting in there. I'm going to do everything I can to try and prevent an infestation so I don't have to deal with it after it gets there. All right, my trellises from Tractor Supply. Kind of bent that one there, but it still works. Here we have Magnolia Peas and tenderette beans. Over here we have Cherokee Trail of Tears pole beans and another type of bush bean that I now forgot the name of. It's cool how you can see the seed on the top there. But let's see, 2 popped there, 3 popped in the back. I planted either 5 or 8. So we'll see how they go. These are all from Baker's Creek as well, except for the Magnolia snap peas. We grew those last year. They're purple, super tasty, super tasty. All right, cucumber bed. Cucumber and right now lettuce over there. We have space over here, which we haven't figured out what to do with. Don't like unused space, but we'll figure something out. So these are Boston Pickling cucumbers, and these are Muncher slicing cucumbers. Love to pickle. I will, over in the pepper bed, be growing jalapeno and habanero to add to my pickles. Everyone likes my spicy pickles. So these are doing nicely. I planted 2 seeds in each. So those all came up. 2 of these came up, 1 of these came up, 1 of these came up. But that's fine. They all look healthy. Hopefully they continue to stay that way. And they will grow their true leaves and we'll keep it moving. And we'll have some nice cucumbers up this trellis. I want to make sure that they cleanly grow up the trellis this time because I usually have bad habits with that. Over here, I have some chrysanthemum, elderberry. Zoom in. That's elderberry. Both of these I transplanted from other places in the yard. These were actually in containers that we bought last year from some school sale or something. And they survived. The elderberry I planted over in a spot that's just, it wasn't doing well. It's beneath a tree, and I think the tree is really preventing things from growing. Even weeds don't grow under that tree, so that's an indication there. Not garden, but sprucing up the area. You see all these wild sedges growing. The area stays really moist. This is like the low point. So it's very, very moist there. The elderberry should love that. I'm actually considering getting something like a dwarf willow because that would love it as well. It stays very moist over here. Over here is the clay from the pond. So this is a pond with no liner. Holds the water just fine, but the clay was all deposited over here. So we figured we need to do something to dress up that clay. So we planted an olive tree. A tea olive bush. I guess you'd call it a bush. Some lantana, and some blue violets. So blue violets from seed, started to see them pop up. So that'll be cool when they finally come up. The only other thing about the garden area, you might be interested that there's an eastern fence that has taken up residence in one of these containers, and my little dinosaurs, we love them. We have to clear out the wasps. For some reason, the wasps love to build their nest there. This area over here where the horses are, and down the sawhorses and down here, I had already tilled it out and then covered it up, but you can kind of see some of the tilling there. We're going to try our hand at sweet potatoes in the ground and see how it works. In the back row, on the other side of the fence, we've got a bunch of moonflowers. So 2 different variety of moonflowers. And then we have something I got from Baker's Creek on a whim for the chickens. It's called a melon 132. It's a really small, like inch, 3/4 of an inch size melon. Very pretty. So cool as an ornamental. Grows up the vine. And chickens love it. Chickens love watermelon. You know, chickens seem to like any kind of melons, but they eat a lot of stuff, but they really love watermelons. So I want to make my chickens nice and happy and healthy. Also planted a clematis over here. I love the clematis, and I had this at our old house and at the mailbox. It did really, really well. But I had trouble transplanting it. I tried to propagate it from clippings, and it didn't work. So I just caved and bought a clematis, and so now I'm going to train it up and get it going. Over here was where we initially planted our watermelon. And then we realized that you're not supposed to put mulch down when you plant the watermelon, or the slugs will attack the small plants and destroy them. So we replanted in another spot on our yard, which I could do a tour of another time. But we did it right this time. So it's all soil. I mounded it up to put the seeds in so the water drains, and I'll mulch it after the plant has developed. So it has that time. What else can I say? This is our garden. Hope you enjoyed the tour. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more content, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Corn. Have a great day.